Now we're live on YouTube
Woo!
and Facebook. LinkedIn's being a little iffy.
That's okay. Let's just start
No,
then. There you
we're
go.
here. You're here.
So,
You're here.
Yeah.
We're here for breakthroughs. We're here for sharing behind
Woo.
the scenes,
All right. No
our
LinkedIn tonight.
lives.
so just so you know who we are Beyond the Mic. We are the hosts of the podcast Breakthrough the Ordinary, and I am Claudine Chiarmonte,
I
located
am.
in Florida,
I am Marc Chiaramonte, located in New Jersey.
and our
Joyzy.
Yeah.
producer in
And
the
our
middle.
producer, Nick. I'm
Producer
also
Nick.
in New Jersey.
Yeah.
Yeah,
The
so
uh
Hey, buddy, upstairs, my
the
son.
Instagram stream is kind of cutting you guys off a little bit.
okay, there you
Oh,
go.
I can't show it.
Well, that's the good thing. Our
It's
producer,
okay.
meaning you, will figure that out in the future.
In the future. They can hear you though. They can only see me.
That okay.
Well, you're the
Well,
special one, so
I'm the special one.
you
he's the
know,
special one.
this week was our 22nd episode that dropped.
Amazing.
And we had a special, high priestess, Eden Amadora. We thought this was a good time for people to start to get to know who we are behind the mic. Um, and this is one of the
Ooh.
ways that we're going to do it.
Who are we?
Who are
Yeah.
You are brother and sister and
There
son,
you go.
nephew. My
we?
son, your
That's
nephew.
true. That is part of who we are. Certainly, I always introduce myself on the podcast, right? I am psychotherapist, coach, and joy maker. And I have to tell you, like for me, I also think of myself as a generous listener and open to curiosity. I don't know how you describe yourself, Mark.
Oh, how do I describe myself? An adventure. I have coached, tantra teacher, curious soul,
Yeah,
seeking to try things and help people and give, and been one of the top people in like Mankind
Okay.
Project in New Jersey for years, and just giving back and sharing and helping, and
yeah.
been on a journey, and so it all comes together. Nature lover.
Definitely, I think we could both say that nature lover, water and
Nature.
mountains. But I'm surprised. I'm sitting here waiting for you to say, like, you're a freaking creative force of nature.
Who,
Like,
me?
you want a house redesigned and see a possibility you never saw in a house before or space.
Yes,
You're the man.
I am visionary that way, creative.
Oh my God, yeah, you're a visionary.
Thank you for that reminder.
Yeah, I think last week, Nikki and I shared when we were just experimenting, like how did this all come about? And I
Yeah.
was on a podcast last night as a guest, and he's like, "So tell me, like, how did this come together? How did Break Through the Ordinary come together?" It's like a dream, and he's like, he thought I was making like light of Martin Luther King, but I said, "No, my brother had a dream, really," and he called me the day or two later and asked me. He's like, "Holy crap, he really had a dream dream." I was like, "Yes."
It was actually a meditation that it came out of a meditation, which
Oh,
is like a
Yes.
dream. And yeah, but I also thought podcast was a simple operation. You just record people and you put it on the digital media, and didn't realize that it was a whole operation. And without
yeah.
this sunny boy right here, this operation probably wouldn't be here. It is a lot
No.
to do. And let me say, we do a very professional. You get pre-podcast stuff, you get post-podcast. We send you possible like we have been told even by people that have been on many podcasts that our podcast is really professional, and I give Nikki a lot of credit for that. But it takes a lot of work to do that, to really do
Yeah.
it right, or do it the way we feel is an integrity and correct. So
Yeah. And wanting to understand how our guest is in line with our vision, right? Our vision, because both of us have been committed to a journey of personal development, exploration, spiritual growth, right?
self-discovery.
Returning home to, our source. It is, and really having guests that also are embodying what that is in the way they've got breakthrough.
Yeah.
And we really take the time, read their book if they have a book, look at their websites, have questions that will bring out, not limit, but bring out what their gift is to the world. I mean, that's what we're doing this for, not for
Yeah.
just us.
And I have to say, our guests are not just intelligent. The tools, the tips, the sharing, the depth of what they share is phenomenal. Because I know just from my own experience being in the podcast that what they share is touches me and hits me. And like we said, we've done a lot of self-discovery, a lot of work,
Mhm.
many different methods, many different workshops and people. And but there's something. I think there's really something for everybody to really learn and grow from and put into practice that could shift your life. It can. I
Yeah.
think
Yeah.
it shifted mine just by being in the podcast.
Yeah, no, I agree. I think of, for an example, like for New Year's, we had an intentional podcast around a New Year's process. It was a coach, an executive coach from California, Melody Pez, and I've used that with clients. I've used it with myself and others. You and I and the family, we actually did it, with our mother and Nikki at New Year's Eve playing a game.
Yeah.
And I've actually done it on Clubhouse, and it's such a way of a completion and a way of starting afresh. And I think like that's a gift. It wasn't just a gift to you and I; it was to our listeners, and then where you and I now bring it forward in our lives.
Yeah. And it's very different than making resolution. It was very different than
Yeah.
making a resolution, which I really enjoyed,
I
Okay.
agree, and I
especially
think that
knowing that resolutions are so. The
no,
process.
I agree. And what stood out was, and I try to be present to this, was really when we're going to make a goal, we want to call forth the highest version of ourselves. Right? It's not that we want to be in scarcity fears and our self-limiting beliefs, which we all carry. It's okay, but who is my highest essence? And from that space, now let's declare what's my goal and vision for 2022 or for any, anything but an example of this. Because that's a different space of empowerment. You have access to so much more in yourself. So it has been a gift. I have to agree, Mark. We've had extraordinary guests that all of them have dropped some wisdom, tool, or perspective that, again, align with our vision, which is about personal expansion.
Absolutely. To bring you beyond what you're used to or or the known, for sure.
Yeah.
And I think of the podcast as this one platform, right? There's Clubhouse. I know you're often on there with me, or certainly our posts. But I think the next level that we've been even thinking about and our vision for this year is to begin a retreat that also represents what our guests bring, but what we have accumulated. So creating a space that is all about the breakthrough, but also about the allowing, right? The alignment of mind, body, spirit with practices. Even silence is a practice.
Yeah.
And I think that's the next thing for you and I as professionals, and Nick. Yes, even if we go to Costa Rica, we expect you to be coming with us, Nick. Just so you know.
Okay. All right.
We've even been playing with it. Like, is it going to be Costa Rica? Is that the space? Mark, you've been there, and I know that you've always felt it was a very aligned space.
Yeah, I
for
was
you.
thinking about doing a tantra retreat there, and I pretty much set it up. I just haven't done it yet. But yeah, I mean, people don't know us, and they're getting to know us. But we have done a lot of work. We have really studied and done a lot of work, and I mean, and so we have so many gifts to bring and so much. It's almost, for us, it's refining it to be smaller, because we could, with our gifts, we could have a month long. There's so much information. There's so many tools, so much. I don't know if, are we on? Because
Yes, Penny's
Yes.
loving you up over there.
baby.
Yes.
That's the family dog. in case you don't know.
Penny.
Pure personality, different dog every day. She's amazing. Yeah.
When you say work, though, can we reframe that? Like, I like to say we've done discovery, we've done healing.
Yes.
And yes, it's emotional work, physical work, like psychodrama. You mentioned Mankind Project, which I don't know if people would know what that
Nature,
is.
Sweat Lodges, Tom Brown.
Native Indian rituals.
John Bradshaw, Inner Child, breathing, like
breath work.
It's endless, really. Meditation processes, and Gestalt stuff, and I mean, even psychodrama. 6 years of psychodrama. There's so much experiential work just from psychodrama we could bring in, and art, and it's
family constellation, Gestalt work. And we can list it, but it's not about like some kind of badge of honor. It's there's so many paths, right? I think that's the one thing that, I feel committed in I think our podcast is about, as well as our personal journeys, is there's not one way, right? There's many ways to return or remember your true essence. And I think that's what these modalities have revealed to me, as much as the Course in Miracles reveals to me.
Course in Miracles. We
Right?
didn't even bring up Tantra, intimacy.
Yeah.
It's just, a lot about aligning. I think our soul speaks to us, and really to teach people ways to really align and listen to that, because I think when we go off that, there's some suffering, and compared to if we were listening, there's a lot more joy, and the learning and lessons can be through love and ease, compared to, as somebody has said, the cosmic 2x4, but
Cosmic, or by work. Yes. Yes, I am committed to releasing struggle and suffering this year.
Yes, absolutely.
Yeah, and I think you've presenced me to something when you say the word alignment, right? You've been using as a mantra, and I know Oprah Winfrey does too. It's the hell yes.
Absolutely, full body, hell yes.
Yeah, and I think that when you add the full body, right? It's not just about here, but there's something inside you that goes,
I think everybody on some level, most people, I should say, on some level, know. And more people I talk to and I interact with tell me about not listening, and marriages and relationships and life events. By not listening, they end up in this. You learn, but it's a traumatic, and it's a struggle, and it's rough, and who got hurt, and who, like, in deep ways, or physically, and it's like, how do we shift that? How do we shift that? And we have a lot of tools and things. Can't wait to share it. We're talking about it, excites me. It's like, whoa, we could share a lot, do it in a beautiful setting, and really shift people's lives, help.
I look forward to it. I think newest for me in my journey has, with intention, I'm very open that I work with a somatic coach. And for me, one of my words this year, right, is two. I have liberation and I have embodiment. And I've spent many, many years in my head judging my body. And it's funny. I was talking to a friend today who I do Clubhouse with, and she's like, "Oh, you've been spent so many years in your body. It's time you really work things out in your head." And I was like, "Really?" Because I got it the opposite way. I've spent so much time in the thinking and being locked and frozen up here that I'm really looking for the connection down below. That I've spent so many years cut off from my body through having an eating issue and weight issues. There's so much shame and judgment kept me away from a very vital part of me. So to awaken to the sensation and the intelligence and the aliveness and is a very new space. And I think we have a lot of people who enter into healing through spirituality, but don't do emotion, right? Or enter through health and really never get to spirituality. And heck, how do we walk and be integrated? I think that's what we're looking is like, can we offer, not can we will offer an opportunity for integration at wherever you are in the journey.
I'm in, as you're speaking about that, it makes me think about being in a men's group. I'm in a men's group. I've been in many, but really been influenced by this last one. Michael DeSanti, amazing. Find your tribe, I have to say. Michael is amazing. And his group, men's group, was phenomenal, 12-week course. But I want to just speak to the men, because women tend to be in this genre more. And I think the space we're creating is for everybody, and to speak to men about getting to that place of what they really want in life, or the relationships they want, or to break through, it could be lone wolf, which I know I've played, being safe in certain ways, not being willing to open up, or vulnerability, or whatever it may be, and to make that a safe space for everybody, men and women. But I'm speaking just for a moment at men too, because I think it takes all of us, both sides, to
I
come
appreciate
together.
that. I mean, Michael was our first guest,
Yes, he was amazing man.
Yeah, his group is called Find Your Tribe. I think it just opened group 11. He's
Love it.
done 11, 10, I guess, 10 completed versions at this point. So he just opened registration for 11 now.
Yeah,
Um,
but it's
and
really good.
I appreciate that when you speak into, because we've had many guests, men and women, who've talked about also healing is going to take the union between the masculine and the feminine energies,
Mhm.
right? I have both, you have both, Nikki has both, we all do. But how do we bring harmony and healing through that integration and the dance between our two energies?
Yeah.
Um, yeah,
And I was thinking we've had a little more to feminine lately, and we have in February we're recording with Jason, who's a really amazing guy. Look forward to having him on. You know, as we're speaking, to incorporate you, Nikki, I'm curious. You know, he's my son, and we've shared a lot, but there's certain pieces that I didn't share yet because I felt, a certain age, you share a certain life. What is your experience about listening to me and Aunt Claudine share, not just with guests, how you feel or what you felt through guests, and also about us sharing our lives? I'm curious what it was for you, or did you just shut that off, or did you have feelings about it, or did you have an experience, or was it wow, look at all the things they like? I'm curious what you.
I mean, I don't always listen to podcast episodes live.
Hmm.
I used to. The first few I did. Um, I mean, when you guys did your life story, it was pretty whack. But I don't know. Besides that, I don't know. It was very shocking though. You guys were crazy.
well, and interestingly, we have not shared more than one episode of that, even though we have
No,
five recorded.
we have five.
Yeah,
Maybe
and
one day we'll drop them all.
it's on you, producer, because that we could also put out in between
Whenever
our.
we fit
Yeah,
in a time to do it.
yeah,
Well, I
I
think
think it
it's
would
good
be a good
because we
idea.
wanted to share with the guests, like that it's okay if you had rough histories or whatever you've had. We've had a lot of different pieces that we've overcome, and I think sharing that is to see that we have a deep perspective on many sides of the coin. Many different traumas and many collective traumas, and that you can move through them, you can grow, you can you know come out on another plane, another space, another life. Because I know sometimes when I talk about my past, I feel like I'm talking about somebody else almost, like it's so not
yeah,
where I am anymore.
yeah.
So I think that for people too, that people can hear that, whoa, you've been through that, I can get through that, or I can, so
Mm.
woohoo, we could be whacked.
I was to say that's that. So that sums it up from the producer. Whack.
Right.
Okay.
Teenage
Whack.
whack.
Um, yeah, it's not always the best feeling to recall it, but I honor that that's my history or your history, our history, um, different perspectives. I've often told people my analogy is right. We were World War I soldiers together in the foxholes,
Yes.
and if we think about how rudimentary that level of fighting was and how vicious, you had some of that during the informative years. I'll say
Well,
that.
we've talked also about the pendulum swings, and the pendulum swang to the point where, oh, it's your story. But I learned really it's the intention behind it. Are you just doing it to gripe and moan and complain? Are you sharing it for an intention to share so somebody else can learn from it or understanding? So it's not about, oh, you're telling a story. It's what's your intention sharing that story,
Yeah.
which is very different. The got to a point where it's not your story. It's not. It's really your history, and it's like where are you sharing it from? If
Yeah.
you're just sharing it to moan and groan and complain or whatever, it's very different than to help people or to share an understanding or for learning and growth.
Yeah, exactly. I think it's
Yeah.
always about learning and growth if possible, um,
Mhm.
or illustrate a point, right? Even in good coaching, we do self shares. We want to illustrate, or give a metaphor for something our clients may be going through.
Mhm.
So, yeah, I agree. Um,
There was
yeah,
another thing I thought about. we're going through this, and we have, coaches, healer, conscious entrepreneurs, and we are curious about, if you're listening now or later, is to send us a note or send us a message. Actually, I don't know where we see the messages, Nick, or who's on, but maybe you do. What you want to hear? What kind of what do you want to learn about? What do you want to see? What do you want to hear for podcast guests? We've put a diverse range, I have to say. I think it's been a pretty diverse range, but I want to know what you want to hear. What do you want to learn, or what are you interested in?
I know that we've also gotten some feedback from one suggestion was have someone on about relationships, and we're working on that. Um, and we're open to any other ideas that you may have. So yeah, I agree. Any of the platforms that we're on tonight, but we are on Instagram at the BTO Podcast. We are on Facebook at the BTO Podcast, and I think we're Breakthrough the Ordinary Podcast on LinkedIn. Am I correct, Nick?
YouTube.
Okay, and Nick's going to confirm that for us because
your volume's not on, Nick.
Oh, whoops.
he's got
Whoopsies. Yes, we're at the BTO Podcast, and we're Breakthrough the Ordinary. Everywhere, that's our name, but we're at the BTO Podcast.
Okay.
Just about everywhere.
Yeah, we have 20 more amazing episodes or so, right? How many do we have? About 20 more? Already
something like that. Yeah.
In the account, or I don't know what we call it.
In the bag.
In the bag, in the log.
In the bag. I call the vault, but it's the bag.
The vault.
Sure. Yeah.
Yeah. And I actually think Nikki and I talked about that last time we tried this live.
We tried.
And interestingly, when I was on the podcast last night, he must have watched it because he's like, impressive. You have 20 in the bag. And I'm like, 20 what? It's like, you have 20 episodes in the bag. I can't get ahead in more than one or two.
Oh, yeah.
And I was like, I felt like someone was in on a personal conversation. Like, how did he know that? That's such a behind the scenes thing that we know.
Yeah.
But I think Nikki
I think we did cover it. Yeah.
So I was like, well, people were listening. That's all I got to say.
I guess so. Yeah.
Mm-hmm.
So we have 40 already.
It's like what, 4 or 5 every week, or every time we shoot every day for like 2 or 3 days.
Yeah, and that's been an interesting thing for our guests, right? Like there's cancellations, life happens, there's sick children, and some of our guests have had to cancel, or they have very distinct days available for podcasting, and they're like, but why can't you just like do it next week or the next day? And we choose, if you listen to Breakthrough the Ordinary podcast, and I assume you do if you're here, right? Part of Beyond the Mic is that Mark and I have agreed to only record when we're in person. The three of us are together. So that is either I fly to New Jersey or Mark and Nikki fly here, because for our continuity, our equipment, but we also felt like our rapport and our energy is best when you and I share space with our guests. So, it's not like, let's just hop on Riverside and just, record something. That's not how we do it with our guests. Like, we make sure that we're in our own alignment and space together. It creates a synergy. At least that's what I feel when I've been
absolutely. I think it's actually weird like this kind of. It's like
I know.
It's like doing our podcast. Nah, I like it when we're together.
We get better quality too, so
there you go.
It's always a positive.
Roadcaster, yes, with the Roadcaster, Riverside, all these great things, yes, that we're using.
Well, that's a great thing to segue for a second, Mark. Is like, one of the things after you had your meditation and we both said yes and Nikki said yes was, right, you said it, like we didn't know what we didn't know. Like,
we knew nothing.
I don't even know, like, how did you guys decide on the mics? How did you decide on the headsets we have or the Roadcaster? Like, I don't even know.
A lot of watching YouTube videos, always, and reading articles, right?
Okay.
He's Nikki's Mr. Research. He's phenomenal.
You gotta.
He looks at everything. He looks at what's the best, what's the price log, like everything. And he likes to do things the right way. So just like we're a professional, we really run it professional. It's because of him. He likes to do it the right way. And I love it. What am I going to say? That's an amazing quality that you like to do it the right way. So the mics and the roadcaster and everything that we've purchased. And then it's purchasing because some of it was like, you can use the free stuff, but it doesn't work right? It doesn't do what you want it to do. But how about you list some of the things we've bought? Like, what do we use?
I actually just pulled it up from a list Nikki gave me because we
Really?
shared. So just so you know, people, we do get consulted from other people who are thinking about starting podcasts. Nikki has, given out proposals to other coaches. We had a coach, another coach, come to me about it. So I see our mic is is it, how do you say it? Shure?
It's a Shure.
Shure
Or Shure, yeah.
MV7 Shure.
Sure.
And we have three of them, and you have them mounted from the ceilings and the sides of the table, but they're also portable. You could take them off the mounts when you come to Florida.
Yeah.
Yep. Well, I'm sorry, they would be boom arms, not mounts.
Yeah.
Boom
arms from the table. We moved out of the living room to an actual place in the basement. So you go back to the first few episodes, you could see the podcast in the living room.
I feel so unprofessional. Our first couple. Now that I look at it, I'm like,
of course.
You have the thing in the background hung up. It's like, oh,
it was crazy, man. Oh my god, the way we put up the curtain.
Yep.
Yeah.
Our headphones are Audio
Technicas.
Yep, M40Xs.
Great, they're great sounding.
Yes.
I
hate headphones.
I will just tell everybody I look like Princess Leia with them, and I've tried once. I think we tried without them, and I didn't like not having them because we really didn't have a chance to hear.
It just gives you like,
isn't it? Yeah, the sound is.
It was harder. It was definitely harder.
Definitely.
And of course, we use the mixer, which is the Rodecaster Pro.
That thing's phenomenal.
Those are the three mains. Yes.
Well, can you explain what that is for people who don't know what a Rodecaster is?
Basically, it just takes all the signals from the mics and mixes it into one file. You could add like music, and you could like Bluetooth your phone to it. So you could have like callers, like they do in radio shows.
Ooh.
I know.
Something we will step into in the future.
Maybe if we did a live in person,
Oh, I think we should do that next time.
Okay.
Okay.
Next time you're up here, we'll do that. Okay. I know we're coming to Florida first, but.
That's right. Our next recording session is in Florida.
Sometime in February.
February 27th, somewhere around there. I don't know.
Yep.
Well,
I do want to see if, like, I know we just got talking about that, but this is something that we actually plan on doing. So we hope to see you beyond the mic every Tuesday. I believe every Wednesday at 7 p.m. Eastern Standard Time.
7 p.m. Eastern Standard.
Oh, yeah, let's make it a weekly thing.
Yeah, and if there's questions, guests, things you want us to explore.
Yeah, pick our brains, pick our lives for knowledge and experience and things to do. And my God, I'm thinking improv. I mean, there's the list is endless.
There you go. We could do an improv one night, Mark. I can start it. You can start it, and I'll.
Yeah.
There we go.
There we go.
Pineapple.
Yeah.
Pineapple.
So, Nick, where can they find us live on Wednesdays at 7 p.m.?
Well, right now we're live on Facebook and YouTube, and by next week, hopefully, we can be live on LinkedIn and Instagram as well. But we'll see.
Yep.
But so far, Facebook, YouTube.
All right. So I think we also heard here that Nick has got a technological challenge ahead of him for this week. Is how to also integrate Instagram, particularly into this.
I have faith in him. He will figure it out like everything else.
Yes. So in that way, it was a great opportunity to see the two of you since we are many miles away from each other.
Of course.
But we talk every day, sometimes multiple times a day.
Yes.
It's still always get a chance to see each other's eyes. It's a good thing. Yes. It is. So thank you, everyone.
Yeah, first one of many.
This is our premiere episode of On the Mic. Next week, 7 p.m. Eastern, Wednesday. See you then.
Yes, see you then.
Curiosity.
All righty.
Thank you.
Now.
Thank you.